I'm outside Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indianapolis, where the Midwest region's top 4 seeds battled last weekend to secure their spot in the Final Four. Let's take a look back at the action and see how those 4 teams found their way to Central Indiana. The region's top 4 seeds, Houston, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Purdue, all qualified for the Sweet 16, the first time a region's top 4 seeds made it this far in 3 years. Starting with top-seeded Houston, the Cougars made light work of the Ohio Valley champions SIUE. The Big 12 regular season and tournament champions found themselves up by 28 at the break, cruising to a 78-40 win. Milos Uzan led Houston with 16 points, LJ Cryer had 15, and Javier Francis had 13 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. In the second round, Houston faced much stiffer competition. The West Coast Conference tournament champion Gonzaga Bulldogs had made 9 straight Sweet 16s, and they weren't about to let Houston end that streak. LJ Cryer, the Cougars' points leader, matched his season and career high of 30 points, knocking down 6 of Houston's 8 makes from behind the arc in the process. However, Gonzaga clawed their way back into the game at the very end. Down 11 with 4.5 minutes to go, Gonzaga cut the deficit to 1 point with 21 seconds left. The Bulldogs couldn't get any closer though, as a missed 3 by Khalif Battle and 2 free throws by Milos Uzan sealed the Spokane school's fate. Houston survived 81-76 and moved on to its 6th consecutive Sweet 16, the now longest active streak in the nation. The Cougars now face the Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue had a little less nervy path to Lucas Oil Stadium, taking down double-digit seeds High Point 75-63 and McNeese State 76-62 in rather comfortable fashion. The first ever meeting between the two schools had its ups and downs. The Cougars and Boilermakers traded buckets in the first half, and after 20 minutes, the West Lafayette school was ahead by 2 at 31-29. Houston would start the second half on an 11-1 run, with 7 of those points coming from Emmanuel Sharp. The Cougars ran up their advantage to 10 points with 8 minutes to go, but the Boilermakers would not go away, answering with a 9-1 run to bring the game to 57-55 with 4:17 to go. LJ Cryer answered with a 3 to get the Cougars to a 60-55 lead, but Wayzata, Minnesota's Camden Heide knotted the score at 60 with 33.7 seconds left. The game ended in dramatic fashion as Houston converted an inbounds pass with 2.8 seconds to go into a game-winning layup. Let's take a look at this final play. First, LJ Cryer sets a screen at the free throw line for Emmanuel Sharp. Joseph Tugler then sets another screen at the free throw line for Cryer to get open, diverting the attention of Braden Smith. Milos Uzan inbounds the ball to Tugler, and he gives it right back to Uzan for the open basket, just before Purdue's CJ Cox can swat it away. Braden Smith's half-court heave was unsuccessful, and Houston advanced to the Elite Eight by a score of 62-60. Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson shared his thoughts on Milos Uzan after the game.
Yeah, he's come so far. He broke his nose, had surgery in October, early November. But his growth has mirrored our growth. As he's gotten better, we've gotten better. So really proud of that young man, as I am this entire team.
Unbelievable game. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
It's already Saturday.
Okay.
The Cougars' opponent in the Elite Eight was the Tennessee Volunteers, making their 2nd straight Elite Eight appearance. To start the tournament, Tennessee's regional games were held at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, home of the Kentucky Wildcats and only 3 hours away from their home of Knoxville, Tennessee. It was an interesting selection considering that teams cannot play in their own arenas during the tournament. The Volunteers proceeded to make quick work of the Southern Conference champion Wofford Terriers, winning by a comfortable 77-62 margin. Chaz Lanier showed up and showed out, swamping Wofford with 29 points, which included 6 outside makes and 11 of 22 shooting from the field. Star guard Zakai Ziegler dished out 12 assists as well, elevating the Long Island natives' assists per game tally into the top 5 nationally. In the second round, Lanier showed out again, leading the team with 20 points and going 4 for 5 from three-point land in a game that saw the Volunteers shoot 11 of 22 from distance. Ziegler added 15 points and 6 assists as Tennessee defeated the 7th-seeded UCLA Bruins 67-58. In the Sweet 16, Tennessee matched up with 3rd-seeded Kentucky, who defeated Sunbelt champion Troy 76-57 and Illinois 84-75 in Milwaukee. The Rupp Arena's success seemed to rub off on the Volunteers as they took a 15-point advantage into halftime, leading by as many as 19 late in the first half. Zakai Ziegler led the team with 18 points and 10 assists for his 5th double-double of the season, while Chaz Lanier recorded 17 points. The most important performance, though, had to be Felix Okpara. The native of Lagos, Nigeria, grabbed 7 offensive rebounds, matching Kentucky's total in that category and contributing to Tennessee's 19 second chance points in the 78-65 victory over the Wildcats. In the regional final, the offensive success dried up very quickly for Tennessee, only scoring 15 points in the first half. In that first half, the Volunteers shot 6 of 28 from the field, missing their first 14 three-point attempts. The only outside make of the first half came from Zakai Ziegler with just under 40 seconds left. It was the fewest points for a team in the first half of an Elite 8 game since 1981, and the least amount of points by a 1 or 2 seed in a first half since seeding began in 1979. On the flip side, Houston never trailed in this game and led by as many as 22 late in the first half. LJ Cryer had 17 points, and Emmanuel Sharp knocked down 4 trays to lead the Cougars to a 69-50 victory and a Midwest Regional Championship. With the win, Houston advances to its 7th Final Four in program history, and head coach Kelvin Sampson makes his 3rd such appearance. He took Houston to the Final Four at this very venue 4 years ago, falling to eventual champions Baylor 78-59. He also took Oklahoma to the Final Four in 2002, losing 73-64 to an Indiana team led by 2000 Indiana Mr. Basketball Jared Jeffries. The Hoosiers would eventually lose to Maryland in the national championship 62-54. The Cougars will now take on the East Regional champion Duke Blue Devils in search of their first national championship appearance since the days of Phi Slamma Jamma, led by now Hall of Famers Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. The Space City School will look to avenge its 1983 buzzer-beating loss to legendary coach Jimmy V's North Carolina State Wolfpack.
You can see the time. Wittenberg. Oh, that's a long ways.
They won it! On the dunk!
And its 1984 runner-up finish to John Thompson's Georgetown Hoyas, led by Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing. Tip-off between Duke and Houston is set for Saturday night, April 5th at 8:49 p.m. Eastern from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. You can catch the game on CBS. Reporting for Butler 360 Sports, I'm Ryan Eggert. Back to you guys.